Greetings from South Korea. I am Adang, Arirang News AI anchor. Here is the news-making headlines today. U.S. President Donald Trump gave a national address from the White House on Wednesday local time. He opened his roughly 20-minute speech by criticizing former President Joe Biden, while praising what he called the achievements of his own administration. Trump claimed that prices are now falling and he is bringing them down very fast, specifically citing the cost of a Thanksgiving turkey that was 33% cheaper this year compared to 2024. The president also announced what he called a warrior dividend, promising $1,776 checks to U.S. service members before Christmas. The U.S. Senate on Wednesday passed the 2026 fiscal year National Defense Authorization Act, approving a defense budget of $901 billion, about $8 billion more than requested by the administration. The bill passed 77-20 and will take effect after President Donald Trump signs it. The key provision bars the use of defense funds to reduce U.S. troops in South Korea below the current level of 28,500 and reaffirms the U.S. nuclear umbrella commitment to Seoul. The bill also restricts funding for the transfer of wartime operational control from the U.S.-South Korea Combined Forces Command to a South Korea-led command to prevent the transfer process from deviating from the agreed framework. The NDAA will cover the U.S. defense budget from October through next September. The U.S. State Department said on Wednesday that it held separate bilateral talks with South Korea ahead of the Pax Silica summit, during which nuclear energy issues were also discussed. U.S. Undersecretary of State for Economic Affairs Jacob Hellberg said officials from both sides met several times the day before the summit and raised energy issues during those discussions. However, he declined to provide details, citing confidentiality. Hellberg said Washington is fully committed to supporting South Korea's energy needs, including nuclear power as well as non-nuclear sources, such as natural gas. Pax Silica is a U.S.-led alliance aimed at building a secure AI supply chain, with South Korea among its members. National Security Advisor Ri Song-nak has met U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright for apparent follow-up talks to the allies' joint fact sheet. Their meeting on Wednesday in Washington would have included issues tied to South Korea's civil uranium enrichment and the reprocessing of spent fuel. The leaders of the two countries have earlier agreed upon Seoul building nuclear-powered submarines. The current bilateral nuclear energy pact bans South Korea from using nuclear material for military purposes. We earlier mentioned the case of Australia being granted an exception in acquiring nuclear-powered submarines through the AUKUS Defense Partnership. Following President Donald Trump's order on Tuesday of a total and complete blockade of sanctioned Venezuelan oil tankers, President Maduro, in a speech on Wednesday, called Trump's order a warmongering threat. Trump said his administration had designated President Nicolas Maduro's government as a foreign terrorist organization and accused it of drug smuggling and human trafficking. Trump's order followed last week's U.S. seizure of a Venezuelan oil tanker off the country's coast. Caracas accused Washington of trying to steal its oil resources as the United States builds up its naval presence near Venezuela. That is all from me today. Thank you for watching.